everybody. Hi, it's Wednesday. I'm a day late, dollar short. But we're still doing this live because episode 18 of The Other Way was a lot. I think last week I said that was episode 18. I lied. It was 17. This week was 18. So we're gonna talk about this. It was only an hour episode. So I don't know how we got so much drama into that hour, but we did. So we're gonna talk about this. Dee Dee's here. Kara is on her way home. She will be here very, very soon. Hi, Kelly. Kara's here. General. Hi. I hope everybody's having a good week. Sorry, I was out of town, so we're like off this week. But I'm gonna keep it.
Hey,
Hey.
you finally back from your little vacation.
Not vacation. I'm back. I'm back in the South. I'm back here. So last week I said this was episode 18. It's episode 18 now. So last week it was 17. So I think the season is supposed to have like 22 episodes. So
That's
this
not including the tell-all?
no, there's like a lot more to go.
Oh,
I know, I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear that, but it is true. There's a lot more to go. This episode was really triggering for me though. So, okay, Kara's here. Because I was like, we need to get into it. I was really, really wanting to talk about this, even like sitting in the airport, like looking at my phone, like rearranging my life choices. I was like, I just want to talk about this, but I couldn't. But now we can. So I'm really excited to get this going. Hey! So,
sorry, running.
we just got here. You're not late.
Good
so
deal.
This episode was a lot for me. It was very triggering for me, and there's like some stuff I want to talk about. So if y'all are Starper fans, you're not gonna like this. But there's gonna be a lot to unpack. It was an hour long, and I was so triggered for like that hour, right? Like I was really, really triggered. So I'm gonna start out with something nice. So Kenny and Armando met with their surrogate, who I thought was a very sweet lady, person, human being, who's going to gift them this baby. I think the one thing that bothered me is in their culture, women frown on other women who do surrogacy for people, which I hate that. Why would you look down on someone or say they're less than or they're loco for helping someone and giving them a gift? Not everyone is capable of having a child, and that's physically or mentally, okay? Like everyone isn't fully capable of doing that. So the fact that they had to actually ask her if she was gonna be okay with like her family and people around her. And then I have like a stupid dude question. So like when you enter into a surrogacy, is it like legally binding? Like say for instance, they give her money and she carries the baby and God forbid she gives birth and then she wants to keep it. What are your rights?
No.
That's why you go to a lawyer and you do paperwork before all of it starts. That way you won't be faced with that because it has happened before.
But she's also using their sperm, so it's biologically
so a DNA test would prove.
Yeah.
But wait, her DNA.
They're using, I believe,
her DNA would be in there too, though, right? Her DNA would be in there too, right? Like, I don't know. It's really complicated for me because I was like, what would happen if she just says, you know what? This baby's really cute and I like it. I want to keep it.
That's why they're going through a surrogacy clinic. Someone else does all the legal paperwork, so that can't happen.
So she couldn't just wake up one day and keep their baby. Like there's somebody who's going to enforce this contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just curious because when I moved from state to state, I shipped my cars and I had a contract with the person, like the company who was shipping them. And then when they picked up the car, they said it was going to cost one amount. Then when the car got here, it was more. So, and I called the cops and everything. They're like, oh, we don't enforce contracts. I was like, what if no one's going to enforce this contract? And so I was just curious about that. So good. That means that they're safe because it's a lot of money to give somebody and just hope through faith that they're going to come through on that. And it's such a pricey process, not just to the surrogate, but to the clinic
Yeah.
as well. Like there's a lot of moving parts and money and people involved. So when I saw that, I was like, I understand how they want this to be a member of their family even afterward, because a lot of times the surrogate, you never want to talk to them again, right? Isn't that how it's like a, what do you call it? Like a closed adoption type situation. Like once it's done, the paperwork is done, it's sealed, and they're gone. So they actually said that they want to include her in their family, which I think is good. You know, I feel like that would be a good emotional addition for her, because I know it's not her baby, but it is. You know, she's never going to just be able to detach herself fully from that child. She's always going to think, well, how's that child doing? You know, what's it doing in life? How's it growing? That like that. So if they include her in that, I think that that would be really nice.
That'd be really, really hard from a mom looking in.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you have that emotional attachment to that baby, and you have no legal right
yeah,
to that
and you
child.
bond with because you're pregnant.
I know, that's so scary. It's like a scary. So I get why people are very reluctant to be a surrogate. I get it, because you're doing something selfless where you don't have any rights to the person inside your body.
Yeah.
And it's just super scary. And I don't like how women look down on other women for it in that region. I think that everyone has their reasons for doing things. Hey, Tammy, everyone has their reasons for doing things. And if they decided to do it and it's in their heart to do it, don't make them feel bad, or make them feel like they're not a good mother, or they don't have emotional capacity. They're like, oh, well, how do you have the emotional capacity to do that? Some people are givers, and they will make a life-changing decision to help another person, and thank God for those people, right? Because all of us aren't built that way. Thank God that those people exist, because a lot of times, you know, especially in same-sex relationships, this is the outlet for them to increase their family, to expand. And without that, you know, they wouldn't have many other avenues. So I'm just happy that she's able to do that. And I really do hope they keep her in their family for the years to come. I feel like it would be amazing for her to become a part of the family. She could be like an auntie, you know, like she can be an auntie.
Knowing Kenny and Armando, they probably will, because that's just their character. They're so loving and, you know, and humble. I don't see them kicking her to the curb. I think they'll try to keep her as long as she wants to stay, you know, in touch with them.
Yeah.
But I don't see them.
I don't see it either. They're like, a lot of people said that they were sick of the people on this episode until Kenny and Armando came on the screen, and they're like, well, at least two genuine people doing something nice and loving and kind, right? Because this episode was just so triggering. So let's talk about Holly, because Holly has ordered a mermaid tail, and this is her way of cheering herself up because she doesn't want to live in South Africa. And it's funny because this story really did mirror Ariella and Biniam for me, because Ariella had no interest of ever living in Ethiopia. She said it before she left Princeton. She said it after she left Princeton. She said it once she got there. She said it even more when she saw the hospital where she would be giving birth. She had no interest. And to our non-surprise, she had already filed for Biniam's K1 visa before she even went to live there. Right, so like not before. I think they got married and then she did it right away. And then she didn't even tell him that she was filing, which I thought was interesting. How can you file a K1 visa without telling the person that you're filing it for?
That's interesting.
That's very interesting, because they have to sign the paperwork. Both of you have to sign paperwork. So yeah.
I heard they broke up anyway, but that's a different story. So Holly can't stand living in South Africa, and it's loneliness and safety and boredom, I think, was her main issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cara, you want to say something?
Well, I don't think we could label her main issues. This girl has so many freaking
I don't even want to know what I was going to say about the mermaid fin. So you go ahead, Cara. I'll say my piece in a second.
So if that's all she could do was get a mermaid tail to make her feel better, if that's all it takes, I'm ordering 5. I'm ordering 5 mermaid tails, and I hope that fixes all my freaking problems. I am so done with these people. But, you know, we've all said she looks cracked out from the very beginning. Is it just me, or are they progressively getting worse as a couple? Looks wise, like they look really strung out.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I don't know. I don't know if Wayne does. I think he just has.
Wayne
so much.
does. Wayne looks like he's lost weight.
It could
And
just
I
be.
think that's probably how they getting that drugs. They probably got the drugs
It could.
in the mermaid
It
skin.
could be the effects of being married to Holly. Because I was like, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just tired. Because did you see the way when he walked in the house, the first thing she said was, "I want to move to America. I hate it here." Like, I think the effect of dealing with.
How when he first walked into the house, it's dark. She says, "I hate it here. I want to move to America. I can't live like this." And he walks around the corner and clearly has a whole ass generator set up.
Yeah.
He just switched, and presto gazebo, you got lights.
Which he said that he showed her how to operate.
Yeah.
She claimed he didn't. He did say that she doesn't ever showcase any effort or give it a shot or try to make this work. And I do agree with him. You do need to go out. You need to get out of the house. You need to meet people. The first thing you need to do is, if you're lonely, is surround yourself with people. And Wayne said that he had introduced her to people and she didn't really try to build any of those relationships. And I feel like
people ran like their feet were on fire.
You think they ran from her? Yeah. I mean, that's true too. It could have been that they didn't want to build a relationship with her. That's very possible. But I mean, in my opinion, she's not doing much to make it work. And I feel like it was always in her mind, like, I'm gonna go over there and try it and then convince him to come back, because that's exactly what Ariella did. Yep. She's like, I'm gonna go over there and make it seem like we're gonna make this work. I'm gonna stay over there as long as it takes to film the other way, and then when his K1 visa comes through, we're gonna come back to America, and then we'll film another show. Like, and I feel like Holly's
she says to him, I want to go back to America. And then when he starts giving any pushback, she's like, well, I said I wanted you to go with me. First of all, no, you didn't. Second of all, that's not how this works. You don't just get to be like, okay, I want to go home. Let's go. And all of a sudden he has a K1 because he's married to your dumbass. That's not how that works.
It's not how it works, but that's how she planned it.
Yeah.
I know that
she wants to get back to the U.S. so she can get her drugs.
Yeah. I heard drugs are
cheaper
over
there.
Overseas, though. Huh? I heard they're cheaper overseas. I heard that it's easier to get them in other countries than it is over here.
That woman on cocaine. She on crack. She on, I don't know what all kind of stuff she on, but she on some. Probably all that prescribed.
All allegedly. All allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, she's on all of it, in our opinion.
In opinion with no evidential proof. But I feel like her main goal, right? Her main goal was to come over, make it seem like she gave it the old college try, and then get what she really wanted was to go back to America and bring him there. And it's like, honesty is the best policy, because she should have just said that before she did all this. Because she wants him to give up his business. And I mean, that might be a good idea based on the financial situation he's in. Let's just say this could be a good win for him. He could start over with a new business in the U.S. and not have to pay any of these debts that he's accumulated. How does debt work? Does debt follow you in different countries? I feel like it doesn't, because Danielle taught us that it doesn't always follow you to another country. So it might be better for him, but he should be the one to decide if he wants to move to another country. And when you make a mutual decision as a couple to take on one person moving versus the other person staying, and then you making that should be something you have more than a couple of discussions about. And it's funny because she's been there before. She didn't like it. Because in my opinion, if you've been there and you already hated it, just say, I don't want to do it. Yep. Don't put everybody through all of this and make him feel like crap. Because she's like, well, you're always at work. And I'm thinking like, well, somebody got to work. You like, when you do have lights, you do like having lights, right? Somebody has to work. Like, it's a tired ass excuse when people are like, oh, well, I just want you to be here. And I'm like, well, we can't both sit and look at each other's face, because money is important. We can't just both sit in the house and look at each other. Somebody got to do something, right? Like somebody has to do something. That's a tired ass excuse. Don't say, well, you're always at work, because when the paycheck comes, you rarely hear a complaint on that day.
Yeah.
Because when the money
They
is
answered that day.
right, you don't hear any complaints on that day, payday. But then when you're working a 10 or 11 or 12-hour day to make that check, then it's an issue.
Yep.
I hate hearing that. It's so annoying.
Yep. I don't know. They're so crazy.
Well,
I can't.
If all goes to her plan, Wayne will be here, right? Like this is what she wanted. I feel like Ariella and Biniam copied 2.0. They're gonna move back to America together, and they're gonna hate each other in America.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't love each other. It's not country specific. They don't love each other here. They're not gonna love each other there. It's not country specific. They're gonna move here, and then they're gonna start hating each other here. And then they're going to eventually split. But at least Wayne will be a citizen, and he can work here, and he can start a new life and start a new plumbing business. We need plumbers everywhere, especially here, right? Like we need them everywhere. He can definitely bring something to the workforce. So
But
maybe
when she's bored, she paints everything. Anything she can get her hands on. She even said she paints the furniture. Do you know how pissed off I'd be if I came home and my shit was painted because you were bored?
Well, some of it was nice. I did see it, but yeah, I buy decor based on the appearance and the color, so I don't want you to paint it. Or at least ask me first, because it changes the whole, like a lot of the stuff in my rooms are color coordinated. So if you go and change the color of something, it doesn't actually go in that room anymore. So yeah, I get it. She could buy some canvas, right? And start painting the canvas instead of painting just any and everything. And again, she could leave and go to the store and buy some canvas, and maybe the person at the store you could talk to and build a relationship with. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like she's very closed-minded when it comes to life in another, and it's life in not another country, just in another unfamiliar place. She doesn't take any steps to make it work, because like you can live anywhere if you have the right attitude and you want to make it work. She never had any interest in making it work. She got there with a negative attitude. She knew she wasn't gonna like it. She was complaining before she got off the plane. Before she got on the plane, she was telling us how much she hated it. So we knew that this was coming.
Yep.
I know, TJ, right? The dresser did look amazing. I would possibly purchase it. I don't know where I would put it, but it did look good. I'm not going to lie. The dresser did look good.
Yeah, but we didn't see what it looked like before either. Might have been his grandmother's great-great-grandmother's antique dresser that she just ruined.
Well, yeah, that she just destroyed. So let's talk about Brandon and Mary, because we know that their first baby is a girl. We found that out on this episode. I said first baby because right, there's gonna be another one. But Brandon's mom, actually, who would have thought she was gonna be the voice of reason? She made a really good observation and asked them to do something for her. And I one thing I'm gonna say, she took responsibility. She said, you are starting a family without me, and I'm not a part of it, and that's 100% my fault. And I love when people take responsibility for their actions. It makes me look at you as a human being who makes mistakes, and you owned it. Because she could have been like, oh, well, I don't want you here. I want you, you know, where I am. You're my son. She was like, look, you're making decisions based on what happened to you, and it's my fault. And I did appreciate her, you know, just owning it and saying, look, you're all the way in the Philippines probably because of the shitty parenting that you received from me, right? Like, she was just like, look, let's just be real. This is partly me. You being damaged and wanting to be with another damaged human being is probably because of things that I didn't do for you when I should have. And she said that she wants to see them do therapy, individual therapy, which I think is amazing advice. Yeah, I was very happy with her contribution in this episode, because I know we don't always have positive things to say about her, but I felt like she really did have both of their best interest in heart when she was giving advice. And
did she though? Did she though?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason that she was doing it was because Brandon asked her to. Yep. If Brandon wouldn't have said anything, that woman would have not said nothing.
Yep. But the advice is good though.
It was
yes, the advice was good, but if Brandon hadn't asked her to try to make amends with Mary, she wouldn't have said nothing.
Yep.
Well,
I
right.
agree.
She tried to ignore her existence completely. Like even when they arrived and when she would talk, she wouldn't even look at her. She wouldn't answer her. Yeah. Yes, I agree. She went there with a nasty attitude and she wasn't trying to make any type of relationship. And I think in the back of her mind, since she knows that she's not going to be spending a lot of time in the Philippines, she didn't really care. She was, because in my mind, if you're going to be a grandmother, you should want to get to know the mother of your grandchild so you can have that relationship. But since it's so far away, and I don't know how frequently she would be able to even go to see these people, the baby, her son, her daughter-in-law, that she kind of had a, I don't give a damn attitude when she got there. But I do feel like giving Brandon the opportunity to ask her to do something for him really opened that relationship, because I feel like he had shut her out, which he had every right to do. He wrote her off, you know, and giving him saying that to her made it seem like they could actually build something. And I feel like that's when she actually tried to try.
Yeah.
She put something into it. She's like, well, wait, he doesn't have to hate me for the rest of my life. He's saying, look, if you want to make an you want to make an impact and try something and try to work on it, try getting along with Mary. That's a lot to ask, but I do feel like she owes him that bare minimal, right? Like
Yeah.
all that he's been through. He told the story when he was 14 years old, and she literally just disappeared days at a time, never came home. Him and his little brothers and sisters, the family, they were taken away, separated. Like that has to be the most traumatizing thing, that a child at 14, you're supposed to be focused on school and sports and friends. He's focused on where their family is gonna live, what they're gonna eat, where they're gonna sleep, who's gonna raise them. That is not the type of.
That was 10 years ago. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock, good for her for being clean and sober. Good for her. But she's only been clean and sober for 18 months. And
Yeah.
that 10 years ago,
Yeah.
it's, I'm sorry, but I'm not impressed. I mean, good job, but
it took too long. And
yeah.
well, I think she said best. She said you can't just stop drugs. You have to find a reason to make it harder for you to continue using.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
she had reasons and she chose to just whatever.
Yeah. She had very good reasons, living reasons to change her life, and it didn't work. And
your children should be enough for you to make all the right decisions. I don't care what you're going through.
Yep.
But I mean, your children, it should be enough reason for you to want to be a better person every day.
Yep.
Right.
All three.
It's all the reason you need. And I applaud anybody who makes a positive change in their life, even if you're 100 years old and you stop smoking. I applaud anybody who takes a step in the right direction. We all want it to happen faster. You know, we all want people's priorities to be in a better line with their lives, but any step in the right direction is a good step, right? So
question though, okay. So now your kids are 13, 15, and 24.
Right.
You're in the Philippines. Where's your kids?
That's true. That's true.
So,
And the daughter was living with her, right? In the what did you call that place? It was like a, what was it?
Like a sober living halfway house.
Yeah.
Yeah, halfway house.
She was.
Yeah.
So
She probably left them with their
dad?
aunt and uncle.
Oh, the aunt and uncle that Brandon was with. That's true.
It's a
Yeah,
possibility.
that would make sense, but I don't know. Bringing kids overseas to that type of situation, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, would you?
I don't necessarily think she should have brought them, but I also don't necessarily think she should have went. I think she went to get on the show, and that was that.
Really?
I'm sure she dropped those kids off with the same people that raised Brandon. They were probably like, shit, she ain't ever coming back. So here's 2 more.
That's true.
Yeah, the only thing she did was appear on the show just to get them fired.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, she did go over there with absolutely no interest in blessing the union.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, If you don't agree with someone's wedding, don't go.
Yeah.
If you don't want to bless their union and wish them success and prosperity, don't go bring your negative energy into people's vibes, even if you know they shouldn't be together, even if they're toxic, even if they shouldn't, that's none of your business. Don't go across the world or go to their wedding just to be negative and wish horrible things on their union.
Yep.
I hate that. Like,
Yep.
don't show up to be hateful. Don't show up at all, right? Like, if you don't agree, don't show up at all.
Another thing I want to be hateful on was that not the most stupidest gender reveal you've ever seen?
Well, yeah, but we have to remember Brandon is like 14, right? Like, I'll thank you for the badge, Alicia, Christina, appreciate it. Brandon is like 14 because that's basically when his life changed, and I feel like he's kind of stuck in time.
If I was
He's so
at any time and my fiance said, if you're right, I'm going to put a pie in your face, I'd be like, that's good, because I'm going to put a pie in your ass. There's the door.
But I feel like mentally they're on the same level, like maturity wise.
Yeah. I agree there.
This was a totally normal way to reveal gender to these two.
But why didn't the mom who's giving this great advice step in and say, hey, I think that's a terrible idea. Under no circumstance should you ever put a pie in your wife's face.
Wait, at a wedding, don't you shove cake in each other's faces?
I mean, if you're like playing and you shove some cake in your mouth, you put a pie in my face because I guessed the gender of my kid right. I'm putting that pie in your ass.
Well, she did put it back in his face too. She did.
And then he got mad.
So if you're the mom and you're giving this great advice, wouldn't you be like, nah, that's probably not a good idea. How about, you guys just hug it out or bet 50 cents, come on, you guys, you're adults now. Let's act like adults.
I didn't see a lot of harm in it, but
I thought it was stupid and I was pissed off.
Well, I just
Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Which one?
Okay, how the poor baby is fixing to suffer because it's a little girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, is she gonna mistreat the baby because it's a little girl? That's why she wanted a little boy so bad. Because he was never allowed to talk to his mom. He was never allowed to talk to his sister. He was never allowed to talk to his aunt. He wasn't allowed to, if it was a lady, he can't talk to him. So his child is it's really not his child, it's Puddingtain's child, but the one that's going to be raising the baby. I mean, come on. Is she gonna be mean towards the baby because it's a little girl?
It'll only be an issue if Brandon spends too much time with her. Brandon's not gonna put the controller to the game system down. It's not gonna be an issue. The only issue is if Brandon seems to be interested in or spending too much time with or around. So I don't think that's gonna be an issue. She can't get Brandon to wash a dish. So you think that Brandon is gonna take full control of parenting this little girl?
No, but I think if she wants Brandon to wash a dish and Brandon's like, I'm sorry, I'm feeding the baby, she's gonna throw a bitch fit because she wanted to be fed.
Yes. Because he's showing too much attention to the baby.
I agree, but it's a very highly unlikely scenario that Brandon would do anything outside of playing video games.
I agree.
It's I mean, I get it. I understand. If that did happen, it would be a toxic, negative fight around the baby. But since we've been watching this season, he doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
So a baby is a lot of work, and I think that he's gonna scale it back even more when the baby's there. He's not gonna do nothing like diapers.
Especially when the baby comes out and it's not even a little white.
Well, yes, but they managed to have another baby. So I don't know what happened. I know when I was born, I looked white. It takes time for your pigment to click in. So like maybe in the very, very beginning, he didn't know fully what was going on. So maybe that's how the second baby came around. That's a good question, though. I don't understand that at all. But
he's gonna shit pants when he finds out he's fathering Puddin' Jello's baby.
well, is the second baby his? Right? Like, is the second baby his? Like, I have questions. I have like a lot of questions. I'm very confused, and I want to see the babies.
Yeah.
Because I'm
I mean, I've
seeing
seen
it.
some stuff on social media, but I don't really pay attention to everything that social media says because I know social media lies a lot.
Yes, they do.
But I don't know about the second baby, but I don't believe the first baby is his.
Nope.
I need to see a DNA test.
Well, she would have had to conceive within like 30 days or less of him arriving. And if you remember correctly, her grandparents didn't even want them around each other or sleeping near each other, so conceiving would be difficult. And then the grandpa eventually did leave and go to Manila to work, and then that's when they just went crazy. But it would have had to happen within a small window.
There's no way it didn't.
Wait, you think it did happen?
Absolutely. It didn't happen the first night on camera, but guaranteed the second night at least.
Okay. I mean, they are.
Yeah, because remember the first night she got up and slept on the floor in the living room.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because she didn't even feel comfortable being near him.
Yeah.
He's like, he's still a stranger to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, if you're on FaceTime for like 7 days straight, y'all ain't strangers. If y'all have like
4 hours a day.
right, you go to the bathroom with each other on the phone, you're not strangers. You know each other. Okay? You know each other. I've known people my whole life who've never went to the bathroom with me.
Yeah.
Okay? Like you know each other, right? Like that's right. So last night we got first off, I have to say Cara and Dee Dee said from the beginning that Sarper had children out there. And I just want to point out how good women are at deciphering information based on very little information given. Because, I mean, he never mentioned it, but it did make sense. So the 2,500 number, it seemed highly illogical or unlogical, whatever the word is, that he didn't have any children. And you guys called it. You know, I didn't disagree, but you called it. He has a child that exists that is 24 to 25 years of age that he conceived when he was about 18 years old with a woman named Alina from, do you remember what country?
Russia.
I want to say Russia. Okay, from Russia. And, okay, so they met up for like a week. He said that they were intimate quite a bit, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't planning on getting pregnant. He claims she was. And again, I always say this, the act of sex is getting pregnant if you're not on birth control. I've been watching a lot of like Teen Mom, Unexpected. They all say the same thing. They're like, well, yeah, we were having unprotected sex, but we weren't planning on having a child. Those are two in the same. They're the exact same statements said differently. If you're having unprotected sex, you are actively trying to get pregnant.
Yes.
There's no either or. Because he said the same thing. He's like, well, yeah, we were doing that and over and over and over, but I didn't want to have any children. I was like, so health class is very important. You need to pay attention to what's going on when the teacher, read the textbook. It's so important. People to this day in 2023 still think you can only get pregnant if you want to. You can have sex. You can not be on contraception. It's, as long as you don't want to, it's not possible. And then there's so many kids out there that weren't tried to have because their parents were under the impression, well, you can only get pregnant if you like think hard enough and you really, really want it. It's like magic, right? It's like magic. And I'm like, that's a crazy story. Okay, so what bothered me about this situation was the mom reached out 4 months later and said that she was pregnant, which shocking. Don't get me wrong. For me, it wouldn't be shocking because I paid attention in health class. But for Harper, it was very shocking for him. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm only 18 years old. I don't want to, deal with any of these adult problems. So the email that she sent him, he said that he deleted and tried to forget. He didn't want to have any memory of it, no recollection of it. He just wanted to live his best life. He wanted nothing to do with that child. And I at first...
email address from 25 years ago.
Wait, what'd you say?
I remember my email address from 25 years ago.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm with Cara. I mean, I remember my email too. As a matter of fact, the email I have, my personal email, I've had it for, oh gosh, for many, many years.
Really?
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
And
okay.
once you save it, is all you got to do is click on there, and it automatically signs you in.
So what my understanding was, he wanted so much to not do with this woman that he deleted the whole email account. I didn't, because some people said, oh, he just deleted the email. I heard, you know, I have selective hearing. He's like, well, I didn't want to hear that or think about it, so he deleted the whole account. Like, he deactivated.
It doesn't matter. Is all you got to do is put your email in there, you save it, click on that, and it automatically logs you in.
So,
that's an excuse.
My thing is if you have a child and you don't want to take care of it, like I used to watch the teenage shows, and there's people way younger than him that stepped up. You know, they were like 15, 16, you know, they were like, oh, well, we did it. We're going to try to raise it. You know, they probably broke up. They couldn't deal with each other, but they still stepped up.
Yeah.
So in his mind, it was just, well, I didn't want to deal with having a child because I wanted to live my best life. And I think what really got to me even more was he was able to like live a normal, remorseful, carefree life and sleep pretty good at night. He said for like 5 years. He's like, after like 5 years, I felt bad. And I was like, so you didn't feel bad like a week later?
Yeah.
Or like when you do the math and figure out the child has entered this world, it didn't bother you. It didn't seem like you were doing something pretty horrible to the child. Like he's like, well, she said I didn't have to be in the child's life. But now the fact that he wants a child so badly, it's I don't know, it kind of rubs me like it's too little too late. Like you rejected this child because it didn't fit into your lifestyle at that moment. But now you want a 41-year-old woman to go out of her way to give you a child because it's what you want now.
Who is so heavily modified and has to weigh a certain weight. That's going to ruin all of her surgeries. If she can get pregnant, it would ruin all of her surgeries. It would ruin her boobs. It would ruin her butt. It would ruin all of that. And she's not going to weigh 128 pounds.
No. Well, I think Shekinah's 100% not going to give him a child. But, okay, so I want to bring this up too. Did you notice that he didn't seem concerned about telling his family about it and looking for him until after Shekinah basically shut down, I'm not having no more kids for you? Like, so what's his family ever going to find out? Was he ever going to tell?
Probably not.
Probably not.
That bothered me too, because I was like, so if you were able to go and start a new life and have a new child, you were just really going to erase this other one from your mind like it never happened.
Yeah, and see, that's not how any of that works. You don't get to just have a kid and then because you messed up, you go have more, and we'll just.
Well, right. That's exactly how I felt.
Couch.
This whole situation blew my mind because the fact that he didn't. I think when he said he didn't have any remorse, he's like, for like 5 years later, I felt bad, and I was like, so for 5 years you slept completely fine, knowing that you abandoned this kid and his mom, even if you just wanted to go and visit him once or twice a year. That's more than saying.
What bothers me is he threw that child away like a piece of trash.
Yes.
Like the child had no feelings. So what if the mom said that he didn't have to be responsible? So what if he didn't want to be in the child's life? At least send her child support. At least, you know, something. Delete your whole email.
You nailed it.
Yep.
At least have her contact information. If he needed to have a blood test done to know what's hereditary for his health, at least have her contact information. Yep. That's what really got me. He was like, I just wanted to forget. I didn't want to even have a recollection. That killed me. Like, you're going to erase your child from your memory? Because there's no such thing as a mistake when it comes to a human life. You might not have planned.
You guys, is the reason why this has really, really pissed me off is because this hits really close to home with me. And anybody that follows me, George, you know, Cara, you know, I mean, this really hits hard. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up thinking a man was my father when he wasn't my father. And then just to come to find out, I just did a DNA test a couple of months ago to find out that another man was my father. So, I mean, I got sick a couple of months ago. Well, a couple of years ago, I really got sick. I was really, really sick. and we didn't even know what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where I come from. So that right there pisses me off so bad, because what if he needed a blood transfusion? If I were to, and they were talking about I would need one. My mama couldn't do it because, you know what I'm saying? Nobody in my family has my blood type. I have a very rare blood type. He was the only one that could give me blood. So say for instance he was in a car wreck, or he got real sick or something. What? Because you felt like throwing him away like a piece of trash? He's going to lose his life?
Yeah.
That pisses me off so bad.
That's what triggered me.
Sorry.
It triggered me too.
Right.
It triggered me too, because I understand that relationships don't work out. I understand that because, like, let's say my parents divorced when I was 3. They couldn't be in the same room together until I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, I understand that there are situations where people can't coexist. But I guarantee when I had something going on at school, my dad showed up, he brought his second family, whatever. He still was there. If my mom, he's paid child support. If my mom needed something around back to school, I needed shoes, my mom would pick up the phone. She had a contact.
Yeah.
Okay? She had contact. Like, he needs shoes. He needs this. They had a communication. They hated each other.
Yeah.
But they had a communication. And I think the fact that he wanted to make sure that there was absolutely no communication is what really triggered me. Because what did the child do?
Yeah.
It's always the children that pay for the adults' mistakes. Absolutely. It's always the children that pay. And that's not fair. It's not.
Isn't this, I don't want to be mean, but like, isn't this he's 24, 25. He's better off not knowing Sarper, right? Like, I hate to be mean.
He's better off, but what if he's had a bad life?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. We can't take away that right for him to know who his dad is, and he might appreciate just knowing who he is. We know a little bit about him. We don't like him, but he's not our dad. You know, so he's not our dad. So you're right. I don't want to say that he shouldn't meet him. But I just feel like the fact that he wanted nothing to do with him until it became convenient for him. He's like, well, now I'm 43 and I don't have any kids. Now it's convenient for me to have a son.
Yeah.
That just really triggered me, because children are not a convenience and they're not an inconvenience. They're a gift. Whether you planned it, whether you were on birth control and they're a miracle, whatever the situation is, they're never an inconvenience. And he was like, well, I was 18 and you know, I was sleeping with everybody that I could find. It was just a huge inconvenience for me to even have knowledge of knowing that I made a child. I think that's what made it even more irritating, because she said, don't be a part of his life at all, but just keep her contact information in case you change your mind. That's how I looked at it.
Exactly. That just really pisses me off, how people can just throw their children away like they're a piece of trash.
So one thing Sarper said to her that really pissed me off when they were having the baby discussion, excuse me, he said, I bought a bed for you and I made a post.
And that equals a baby?
So I guess I should pump out a baby for you?
What?
Yeah.
First of all, that bed needed to be changed 5 years ago. That's not for her. That's for him to sleep in, right?
2,499 women ago.
Right, like, that's not a gift for her. That's like the bill comes on a date and the guy pays it. He's like, well, I paid the bill, so let's head back to my house. You owe me. No, she don't owe you nothing. She don't owe you nothing. Like, that pisses me off too, where they're like, well, I did this for you, so now you have to do something. No, that's not how relationships work. Relationships are not, I did you a favor, do me a favor back. That's not a relationship. That's basically prostitution, okay?
But,
like, that's not how it works.
Then I have to address Shekinah's response. She said, I don't want to have a baby. I've already raised mine. No, bitch, you have not.
She didn't raise that. She did not.
You sent it off to someone else to raise for you. That kid's not even fully grown yet.
No.
You did not raise your child. You cannot say that.
I thought it was interesting when she was like, I've basically already raised one by myself. And I'm like, the boarding school is doing most of the work. But I thought it was funny because Sarper's cousin, she was like, so are you done being a mom?
So you're done being a mother?
And I liked the way that she interpreted that, because that's how I interpreted it too. Because she was playing tag-urate between the dad and the boarding school. Like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Somebody else take over. So that's not what his cousin meant. But good God, was she nailing it? She's like, so your child isn't even grown, and you've already washed your hands of that situation. And it's kind of like they deserve each other. Because isn't that kind of what Sarper did too? He washed his hands of that child, and she's trying to wash her hands of her child. They kind of deserve each other. They're kind of perfect for each other.
Yeah, I thought that was good. That was my favorite comment.
She's too worried about her boobs and everything else that she got going on. She ain't worried about no baby. What's that baby supposed to do? Take care of itself? Because she ain't gonna take care of it. Sarper sure the heck ain't.
Thank you, Dee Dee. You made such a good point. Such a good point. Sarper is not gonna take care of a baby.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be realistic. He don't take care of nobody. He doesn't clean. He had a bed from like 100 years ago. She doesn't take care of children.
Yes.
So they're discussing, well, they're not, he is, bringing a baby into the world for two people who don't want any responsibility other than keeping up on their Botox.
Yeah.
So I was like, this situation is completely out of control and outlandish. There would be a baby, the baby would start crying, and Sarper would kick her and say, go get the baby. She'd kick him and say, go get the baby. And they're going to play tag-urate with this baby, just like she's been doing with her daughter the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, the worst possible thing that they could do is have a baby. And I think Shekinah's the only one who has enough sense to know, well, I have one. It's kind of an inconvenience for me, so why would I have another one? Like, she's the only one.
That's why she sent the poor child to boarding school.
Yep.
Well, yeah, boarding school is for when your child is bad and they're out of control and you need help.
Yeah.
Boarding school is not, because we saw her child. We met her. She's smart. She's very intelligent. She's mature. There's nothing wrong with her. There's no reason why she should be in boarding school unless she wants to be.
Yep.
Right? Unless she wants to be.
She could possibly want to be so she don't have to be around her crazy mama.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. She's probably embarrassed of.
She signed herself.
Yeah, she's probably embarrassed of her mom staying out late and going to parties and acting like a teenager. And she probably had to, who knows, figure out a way to get to school because her mom probably never came home the night before from the whatever party she's paid to go to. So yeah, she might have signed herself up. She was probably like, well, somebody's got to raise me, right? So I'm going to sign up for boarding school. And that's horrible. If that is the situation, that's freaking horrible that was her only option, right? Because she has a mom and a dad.
Yeah.
There's no reason why she should have had to go to boarding school to get the attention and support that she needs at such a young age. She's 15. No 15-year-old can raise themselves.
I also feel like Sarper doesn't really want this 24, 25-year-old kid in his life. I feel like now that he was put on national TV, international TV,
he's doing it for
everybody's gonna be like, I mean, they'll be like, there he is, and then we need, I need this, and this from you because you've been absent from my life for 25 years. He's afraid of that happening. Not saying that's at all what would happen, but that's what he's afraid of. So he had to put it out there to make it look like he's the one looking. So when they do find him, then.
But you wait until your child is 25 years old?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I think what else bothered me was in the post, he said his son was missing. And I was like.
The son is not missing.
First of all.
Hiding from me.
It could be a language barrier, so I didn't want to go in on him. But I was like, first of all, there are unfortunately parents in the world whose children are really missing. Okay, don't use a term that doesn't apply to you. Because they are really going through a horrible situation of where they don't know where their child is. Okay, you don't know where your child is because you didn't want to know. These parents would give anything in the whole damn world to know where their child is and if it's okay and to get it back home. Don't use that term. It really bothered me because I was like, this child is missing to you because you basically shoot it away like it was a stray dog. That's different than when parents are looking for their babies that were snatched from somewhere. That is a whole different thing. And it really, I don't know, the whole thing just triggered me. I was so angry. I was like, I don't usually get this angry at a storyline on the show. And I was like, this one really got to me.
Yeah.
I was really
it got to me too. Really bad. Yeah.
And it's
because
I don't wish bad on anybody. I don't judge people for their decisions. I think we're all human. you know, and I think everybody makes mistakes, but the fact that 25 years and then now that you're on TV, now you want to, and I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I think, Cara, you're onto something. I think the backlash is what made that post happen.
Yeah.
Because people are like, what do you mean you have a whole son and you just wanted to forget? And I think the backlash and the way people reacted, he's like, well, I have to make it look like I really, really want to find him. But you had all this time. And it would have been much easier when he was younger.
Yep.
You know, when the trail was still hot. You know how when you're on a trail and there's no heat on this trail at all. He doesn't even know where this woman lives. In this much time, she might not even be alive anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the trail could be so cold at this point.
If
He
he
probably
wants-
knows that.
Why does he go? Why does he not just go back to Russia? If he knows where they met, where they had all this wild sex, why don't he just go back and see and then like ask around for her? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah,
Like,
even being, that's even more, that's still difficult. It's so much time has passed. Like I move around.
doesn't
like,
matter.
Where I grew up,
If
like,
you
where I
want
grew
to,
up, I'm nowhere near that now. So it's like, it's very possible that she packed up and moved to another part of the country, a different country. Like, who knows?
but if you want to find your child, you move heaven and earth.
That's true. That's true. I've seen Dateline stories where parents did the impossible. Their child went missing or something happened to their child. They were their own detectives. They were flying to different places. They were asking around. They did the impossible to get the information that they needed to be reunited with their child. And if you really want to make that happen, you do more than a freaking Instagram reel.
Yeah.
You would do way more. I've seen on Dateline parents flying across the world just
He flew
on a
over there
hunch.
to have some wild sex. So why can't he fly over there to try to find a son?
Because he don't want to.
And the mom,
Exactly.
the mom's in her 60s. So odds are she's somewhere settled down. She's not going to be running. She's probably remarried to somebody great who raised the child. That he's so full of shit. It's just spewing out of every crevice of his face.
And
like, this guy is.
I believe he's still got more kids. I believe he has more kids out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, that he knows about?
Yes.
Or not know?
Yeah.
Oh, that he knows about.
Yeah.
That he knows about and probably don't know about. But I'm pretty sure he has more kids.
That's what I was thinking when he didn't want to post her. Because I was like, there's probably a woman who has a child by him that he doesn't do anything for. And I think it would trigger her to see him like marrying or settling down with someone when he has all of this responsibility that he just abandoned. Yeah. I feel like that's more why he wanted to keep everything a secret. He's like, well, I don't want any of the other women to know what I'm doing. Why? If you broke up and you didn't do anything wrong to this woman, why would she want to ruin your life? I get that you're never going to have anything positive to say about your ex, but why would she want to ruin your life if you didn't do anything horrible to her? Like maybe, I don't know, have a baby by her and then delete her from your phone like you did the last lady? You know, like maybe you did that.
Spot on. 100% spot on.
I wonder how many kids are going to pop up. And
there's no way he has slept with 2,500 women and only have one child.
Nope.
No way possible.
Right?
Nope.
That's
I still don't even believe he slept with 2,500 women. How is that even possible?
I don't
know. I feel like he is, the way that he talks to Shekinah and the way that he talks to women in general. Like she was like, when we met, you told me you didn't want to have kids. He's like, yeah, I was just trying to bang you. I didn't care about what you, the way that those type of comments, it really does make me feel like he probably did. Yep. He's such a evil, vindictive, lying, manipulative person. He literally tells people anything. He's like, I was just trying to get you in bed that night. That's literally what he said to her. He's trying to marry her, by the way. And that's what he said to her. He's like, I didn't care what you said. It was a one-night thing. I was going to do that and then probably never call you again. And I feel like this is such a pattern. Because I was like, I don't know if I did do that. If I did treat women that way, I don't know that I would admit it out loud. Right? Like, I don't know if I would admit it out loud to a woman that I would want to marry me at some point. I don't think I would tell her that because that would tell her enough about me to know that she shouldn't be marrying me.
Yep. I tell you.
Man.
Piece of shit.
This episode, it got my blood boiling. I wasn't even at home and I'm watching it. And I had to stream it on my computer. and I'm like throwing things around the hotel room. I'm like, are you serious? I was like, well, first thing I said was, dang it, Cara and Dee Dee did it again. I was like, they did it again. They knew. Y'all said like in the second episode, they were like, you're like, he's probably got a bunch of kids. Like he doesn't have any kids. But I was like, damn it, they did it again. They always do this. They always figure stuff out before me. And I was like, see, they done did it. And then after I heard the story, I just got even more pissed off. I was like, are you just...
I wouldn't be surprised if women start coming forward saying that they have a child with him.
That's what I was thinking.
Or children old enough to step forward and say something, because I'm pretty sure, you know, if he has a 25-year-old, he's got more that's 18 and older.
Yep.
They can come forward and say, you're my dad.
He was already knocking people up at 18 years old. That's just the pregame, right? That's just the pregame. Imagine he's 43 now. How many women? And then, like he said, that he claims this woman tricked him. Like, imagine other women who say, oh, I'm on birth control, and they're not. It does happen. It does happen, and it's like, he's not wearing... Yeah, right. Like, it happens. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, anybody wants to trap Sarper. He's no prize. But, like, it does happen. These situations happen more often than people realize. That's why I tell people all the time, if you're going to go out there and be a hoe, protect yourself. Yeah. Don't, if someone says they're on birth control, that's fine. Be on yours, too.
Well, we've said it before, but Dee Dee and I were both on birth control and conceived children. So,
well, right. It happens way more often. When I took health class, they made it seem like it was an impossible thing. Like when I was in school, they were like, if you're on birth control or you were contraception, you won't get pregnant. Lies. Lies. They lied to us. It is not 100%. It's not even like 90% true. So many people have told me that they have more, like a child or two that they had on birth control, and I was like, what? Because when I was in school,
I have a cousin. She got her tubes cut, burnt, tied, and clipped, and she went for her 8-week checkup, and she was pregnant again.
See, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right?
I would have had that. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I would have been like, what?
Well, right, I would have been like, I need a refund because y'all told me
you didn't do something right.
Right, I feel like this is a violation of our contract because you told me that, like, this wasn't going to happen. And again, percentages are really confusing because it'll say, like, oh, it's like 90% effective. That 10% is bigger than you think.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to slip through the cracks, you know? So who knows? But I don't know. This episode was crazy for me. So we're going to end this live, and we're going to start right back up. Take like a 2-3 minute break. And then we're going to start with the Family Chantel, which aired also. And, oh, man, I can't wait. There's so much I want to talk about. I have notes. So, yeah. So, everybody grab your refill or whatever. We're going to end this live. I'm going to save it. So, it's going to take a second and then post it. So, make sure you're following me and my co-hosts, Cara and Dee Dee. They're tagging this video. Follow me on all social media platforms. At George Mossey, georgemossey.com, and anywhere you get your podcast, type in The George Mossey Show. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We charted again with over 3,000 downloads last week.
Yes.
Wow.
Very mind-boggling. And then I'm going to post a list of all the different countries where people are listening. I'm very grateful and humbled. I didn't know people liked me that much or even wanted to hear me talk. So I am very, very appreciative. I love all of you guys. So, yeah, we'll be back in like 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to be talking the Family Chantel, the divorce, and Pedro and his family, and then we're going to talk about Chantel's family and all of this, and there's some cute dogs involved. So we're going to talk about that too. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you grab your drinks and meet us back here in a few minutes. Bye.
Bye.